Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I'm Scott Foster.
Yes, sir. And this is the Viewers Anonymous podcast. What's going on with you, Brody?
Man, chilling, man. I had to do some, you know what I'm saying? Had a random today. Went to go knock that shit out. I mean, like, it's one of those things where, you know what I'm saying, I ain't worried. I know me, I don't do nothing. But at the same time, it was like, man, I go up in the place and like my job do that shit like, okay, well, once we print this paper out, you only got 2 hours to do the shit. And I roll up at the place, and these people, and then the girl, you know what I'm saying? You know how ghetto black people is. She was like, I don't know why they keep doing this shit. I'm like, what? And she's like, they only give you 2 hours, but she was like, there's people in front of you, and I don't know if you're gonna make it and all this type of shit. So then they got me worried. I'm like, man, hey, all I gotta do is piss in a cup, yo. But then they get me in and man, they got me in and out of there, man. It wasn't too bad, but but I was ready. And then I also was thinking about like, yo, it's pod day today.
Yes, sir.
Like we hyped this up last week at the end of the last pod, man. And I was ready to get this in, man. This is gonna be a fun one.
It's worth it, man. So a lot of shit been going on, man. My little cousins, I was talking to them this weekend, man, and they needed me on the song, so I did some work with them, and they got me featured on one of the end of their songs. So y'all be looking out for that in the coming weeks, man. I'll be posting it on all my social media as soon as it come out. But y'all go check them out. We Go High. You know what I'm saying? They've been making music and everything else since COVID hit because they can't do the Immaculate Bros. So, you know what I'm saying? Look forward to that. And then what else happened, man? My Buckeyes came back, bro.
Yeah, I seen that, man. Y'all doing y'all thing. Already number 3 in the country. I saw a thing. It said there was number 300.
That's right, man. That's right, man. You know what I'm saying? Put some respect on our name, man.
Yeah, man. Strange year, man. It's really a strange year, but
yeah, man. But outside of that, man, I got a chance to watch. You hit me up about the Black Box movie, and you like that motherfucker out the ballpark, man. Felicia Rashad, I think that's still her name. Yo, she is killing these thriller roles, bro. Like, I don't know, like, where, I mean, I know she, you know what I'm saying, like, she got the acting experience for it, because, her and Debbie Allen been acting for a long time now. But, man, oh, man, like, yo, she was real good in this movie. She was real good in the Tyler Perry movie, too, with the bad wigs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, like she been really doing her thing in like this this thriller suspense, you know what I'm saying? Mystery genre or whatever. She really been doing her little thing, man. And it's good to see her, you know what I'm saying, getting back into that spotlight. But I watched that, and then I watched the 24th, and that was pretty interesting. That was something I learned some shit from.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Like, I mean, as far as me, like, I've been, like I said, I seen that Black Box, and you know what I'm saying, I hit you about it because I figured that could be a potential down the road, and
yeah,
and I watch my boys. I ain't even watch. Like, my thing is, I made an oath to myself for a new year, man. I said, look, my boys get down 17, I'm cutting the game off. Like, I'm not gonna. Man, I'm not letting them do this to me this year, man. I can't let them keep doing this to me.
You gotta finish that joint out, man.
Man, like, look, dude, they like we come out, we be the top 5 team, and then we come out against a 1-4 team and just get obliterated. And it's like, yo, like y'all not doing it to me this year. And like, but yeah. I watched my boys put a beat down on the Patriots though, so that was a good thing.
Hey, yo, Cam a little shaky.
Man, Cam more than shaky. Cam got benched. You hear me? Like, man. And we got backup safeties and everything. Like, our whole fucking squad hurt, and we still putting in work last night.
Jimmy G back though.
Who back?
Jimmy G.
Yeah. I mean, he did pretty good. Wasn't a great game, but he had a decent game. But man, I tell you what I've been watching, man. A friend of mine been trying to tell me to watch it forever, and I had seen like the first like 6 episodes or 5 episodes, and I went back to it, man. But I've been watching Mr. Robot, man.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Was that you telling me about? Somebody was telling me that was real good. I think it was my little cousin. It might have been you, but somebody was telling me that was pretty good.
Yeah, man, it's getting interesting, man. Like I'm on episode 10. I'm still on the first season, but also, man, I still gotta jump on that Lovecraft Country, man, because I got somebody else breathing down my neck about it other than you, man. So
hey, man, good. They gotta put that pressure on you. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna jump on it, man. But man, hey, y'all in for a treat today, man. We got a person as far as a director, man. He's been killing it. He even came out with a joint, last year. Yeah, The Irishman came out last year.
Yep.
So, man, a Martin Scorsese film. I mean, there's so many of them that could be done. I was telling you beforehand, I think that in my eyes, this is definitely, if not top 5, I mean, it's around that top 3, top 5 of films that he has done, man. And I'm excited to do this one, man. The Departed, man. It's
and listen, and you were just talking about Boston, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of New England, bro. This is probably the best thing to come out of Boston since Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, man, like, yo, this shit was wild, bro. Like, it's so much that, you know what I'm saying? First and foremost, anytime you can get a producer like Scorsese, you know that you're gonna get a great story. You know that you're gonna get a great cast. You know what I'm saying? And an all-star cast at that, because there was some heavy hitters in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna get some real good plot twists. You know what I'm saying? Not to the point to where it's gonna blow your mind, but more, and it's definitely not gonna be to the point to where you're gonna be able to call it before it's all said and done. But yeah, man, like this one was put together well. You know what I'm saying? The way it was shot was good. The acting was great. It's just I hate that accent. I had to deal with that shit in Maine, bro. I hate that fucking accent.
So do I. It's not the most not even most, like, it's not sexy at all. It's just
at all, man.
It's just bad. Like, I haven't heard anything where it was just like, yo, I need you to say that again. Like, if it is something I want you to say again, it's because I think the shit is funny.
Yeah, and the women really talk like that.
Oh yeah, like, dude, I've heard it. Like, and then like, even
too. Firsthand experience.
Well, not firsthand. Like, I met a person that was from the Boston area, but like, even when you think of stuff like you were saying, movies that come out of Boston, like The Town. Like, The Town was a great movie. Yeah. And like, the accent though, man, it's like it drives me insane.
It's trash.
Yeah, it is. It's so bad. It's so bad.
No disrespect to anybody from the New England area, but yeah, that's a trash accent.
Yeah, but then, like, what the thing about Boston? I tell you one thing I did like about the film, like, they included the, what do you call it? Boston don't have the greatest history as far as race relations. And they started the film off. They was showing like real footage from the busing when they first started busing black kids to white schools. Like, I watched a documentary on that shit before, so I remember that's the same footage that they used in the documentary that I was watching about what they call it, the busing crisis. And like, so a lot of the Boston people was mad, and like they showed that at the very beginning of the film, so they showed you like real shit. But like they played on it throughout the film, like there was a time when Billy Costigan was running with your boy Brown, that was played by Anthony Mackie, and like he was saying something. You want Anthony Anderson.
Yeah.
But like he was saying, he was like, man, you got more problems than that. You a black guy in Boston. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
right.
And it's like, oh man, like that's a great line to throw in there because you have to understand like the race stuff that goes on in Boston. Like a lot of that shit was overt, like it was down in the South. Like Boston is one of those places where
Still
it
is.
was really in your face. Like New York and shit, like it wasn't in your face. Like like my Uncle Washington,
New York a little too diverse for that though.
Yeah, it's a little different than Boston is because of they say it's like the melting pot because there's a lot of immigrants from different places in New York. But like I like how they put that in there, and then you also like they got Costello to say, you know what I'm saying, nigga, one time. It was at the very beginning.
The opening line,
in the opening dialogue, and it's like, but you don't hear no more of it. But I think that
you heard Marky Mark.
Scorsese, I think what Scorsese was trying to do was like, yo, like this is a thing. Like this is the 70s. But no, the 80s. Yeah, the 80s. It had to be the 80s because Sullivan.
Nah, it wasn't the 80s. It wasn't the 80s.
Well, you gotta think.
This was like late 90s, early 2000s. They had cell phones.
No, I'm talking about when Sullivan was a kid. You remember when?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'm saying that part was like the 80s.
In the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing I was meaning because I think that was. I still. Well, damn. Now that you say that, damn, I didn't even think about that. That shit might have been the night. But you know what? That might be the 70s then, because I didn't even think about that. Because like even when you look at the cars that everybody was driving, it was kind of like 90s cars, like that Mustang.
Yeah.
That Billy drove. And he and Frank them used to ride around in that damn what was that? That was a damn I forgot what kind of car it was, but I think it was a Cadillac. But like the thing is, it was 90s. I didn't think about that. So you know what? That might have been the 70s then, when Sullivan was a kid. Yeah. So like my thing was like he got it out the way, but he didn't drag that shit out. Like, you know what I'm saying? But they also wanted you to know, like, we're talking about this is a story from Boston. So, you know what I'm saying? He got it in, got it out, and then it was gone. But they also let you know throughout the film, like, and then because Anthony Anderson really was the only black person in the film.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so.
No. Well, yeah, well, he was the only one that was acting in the film because it was another black dude that was in the jail scene when Leo went to jail.
Yeah,
but they were sprawled out. They were sprawled out though.
Yeah, but it wasn't, something that was.
He was like on some extra shit.
Yeah. But as far as feel like the thing that I love about Scorsese is like, he has a great relationship with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. Like a lot of his extras be guys that always be in his film because a lot of like when you watch Casino and Goodfellas and shit like that, it's like a lot of the same people. And like this time, he switched it up with Jack Nicholson. And I thought that was I think that Jack Nicholson was the perfect person to play this guy.
Yeah.
And he had like these one-liners, dude. Like he got two of them that come to mind that is so fucking great, dude. Like the one that I love when he met with the triads when they had and he was like
we don't get automatic weapons because they all come with life sentences.
Yeah, that was hard too. But I like the part when he said because here in America they don't add inches to your dick.
Yeah,
that shit was so hard. And then the other one when when he told the dude to dump the body, and the dude is going hard about, oh man, I hid that body in the marsh, all this type of stuff. And then he was like, when I tell you to dump a body, he was like, dump a body. He said, not where a guy can find it, somewhere jerking off. And he started laughing. He was like, don't laugh. It's not reality TV. And I thought that shit was fucking funny as fuck, but
hey man, this movie really showed I think, and this is really just with a lot of Scorsese movies too though, but it really showed the range that a lot of these guys have as far as, what I'm saying, like acting and being in certain, what I'm saying, roles, having to play certain types of characters. Like I'm not a huge fan of I'm about to call this nigga Brad
Matt
Pitt.
Damon.
Matt Damon. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Matt Damon. But in this movie, like he really, what I'm saying, like made me want to see a lot more of him in the movie, because for him to play the role of a guy who was basically brought up by, this is the crazy thing too. This is the mafia, like this is the mob, but this is the Irish mob. This is not Italian. Mm-hmm. That's one thing a lot of people got to remember as well. Like a lot of times when we see like mob movies or mafia movies or whatever, it's usually Italian. This is the Irish mob. So that's another thing that you got to add in there too, along with the racism and, what I'm saying, like the aura of Boston. But Matt Damon's character was so good at just being, what I'm saying, from going from being basically a mobster's, I guess you call him like errand boy or whatever, to basically rising up through the ranks to be the mole and, what I'm saying, like the fucking police, the police department. And like it was wild just to see him, what I'm saying, like play that double agent type role. Cause like I'm not used to seeing him, like, I guess the Jason Bourne thing kind of gave me like a little image of what he could possibly do, but this was like totally different. This was on some like, what I'm saying, like some mobster type shit, and I think he did a great job in that. I think Leo did an amazing job too.
Yeah, both of them killed it, man, and like it also shows you like how smart Costello was, because it's like, and also in the opening scene, like he went to collect, and he was like, don't make me, he told the guy like, don't make me come down here again, what I'm saying, just for this. Mm-hmm. And then he hit on the dude daughter or whatever, whatnot, but then he sees the young Sullivan sitting there, and he was like, oh, you such and such kid, right? And that's another thing, like you can tell, like, because I think that was in South Boston, and like South Boston seems to be more of a community type thing where like everybody knows everybody. Yeah. So he knew everybody's parents, he knew everybody's cousins, all that type of shit, which we'll get, into a little later. But he was talking to him like, you're such and such son, right? And he's like, yeah. So he butters the kid up by like, all right, well, I'm gonna buy y'all some groceries. So he gives them all of the shit. And he's like, you like comic books? So then he, buy him a comic book and give him some money. And he's like, hey, if you want to make some real money, come holler at me. So when you a kid, you like, shit, like, yeah, I want some money. You just bought me groceries and I ain't even asked for nothing. So like and then like you said, he pretty much made him an errand boy. But he groomed him. Like, I think when he saw him, he was just like, okay, it seems like you can have a future in law enforcement. Yeah. So my whole thing is staying out of jail. Like, that is like, when you're a mafia person, like the best thing you could do is to have the cops on your payroll so you can operate without having to, look over your back. So it's like he saw this kid. I mean, what? He was like 12 at the time, it seemed like.
Yeah, probably a little
So
bit.
he grooms him from like a 12-year-old He goes into the police academy, and then this dude is detective. Like, he never even wore a uniform. The only time he wore a uniform is through training.
Yeah.
And it was because Costello was like, all right, I'm going to give you your career bus to put you in the position where I can be protected the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when you look at somebody like that, you can look at them as smart, but also it's like, you you groomed a 12-year-old kid to be a rat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, like, throughout the whole film, he's talking about how much he don't like rats. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, then you found out later on, which, there's a little later in the pod, but it's like, he groomed this kid to be a rat. So,
Not necessarily. I don't think he. I wouldn't say rat. I think he was a mole. He wasn't a rat.
this is the reason why I say rat. I mean, I know that rat has its definition because, like, a rat is basically snitching on, you know what I'm saying, some people that you're working with. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily rat is the best word, but it's like, to be playing both sides of the fence, to be in law enforcement, but you also making bread on the side by keeping, you know what I'm saying, the
Well,
biggest.
see, okay, I see what you're saying, but see, you're saying it wrong. It wasn't he was in law enforcement and making bread on the side. It was that he was in the mafia and making bread on the side with law enforcement.
Exactly. You said it even better.
Yeah,
Exactly, because
because remember, he was like you said, he got groomed up to basically do this job. So remember when they was at the shop or whatever, and he made the quote or whatever, and then Sullivan was the one who got the quote right. So he was, you know what I'm saying, he had said like, yeah, bright kid. So basically he took that and turned him into, you know what I'm saying, like this kid who basically had his back. He basically raised dude, and he, you know what I'm saying, he showed him like, hey, I'm gonna put you in this position, and I'm gonna make these connections for you, and you are going to basically be my eyes and ears. So if anything is going down, you contact me, you let me know, and then, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna make sure that you squared away on the side. But also, we gonna use this to make sure it's gonna be a lot easier for us to maneuver and shit around here. Because remember, anytime something will happen, the first thing he'll do is he'll get on the phone and start talking about dad. And that was like they code word and shit. Cause remember the one situation where he called him or whatever, and he said, well, what am I supposed to do with the gun? And he said, what about the gun? And he was like, well, it's in such and such a car or whatever. And that's when they first brought in Costigan. So when he was sitting on the balcony talking to him, and he was telling him, like, you know what I'm saying, look in the glove compartment, the gun gonna be in there. Y'all gonna lock him up. He basically gonna say yes, even though we knew he wasn't gonna say yes. He was basically forced to, you know what I'm saying, get locked up or whatever. And then that way it'll look like he did it instead of Costello. So when they had did all of that shit, it was you that was showing you like that relationship that they had, because he was basically the eyes and ears for Costello's operations.
Oh yeah, very valuable to him. And then, like,
Yeah.
with Costa can, like, it shows him, he's in school with Brown, and so he passes his test and everything. So he go meets with Captain Queenan and
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Dignam, and like, Dignam played by Mark Wahlberg. Like, you know what I'm saying, like, you doing a Boston film, it's only right to have him in it. And it's like, even though his character was kind of like, you know what I'm saying, that cocky guy that always talks shit, like, says a lot of shit that ain't necessary, but
Mm-hmm.
it seems like you have those type of guys in, like, the police department that's like that. So, like,
To me, he was still the cop from the other guy.
in same outfit and everything.
Yeah,
And
like same attitude, all that.
yeah, and it's like, so they run it through his family because, like, Koskinen is a junior. And, like,
Mm-hmm.
so his dad has a reputation of, like, pretty much being just a hard work. Like, he's known on the street not to be fucked with, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, he was a hard worker. Like, he didn't get into the
The
quote
family
unquote
business.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he just, he was just a hardworking guy. But his uncle, his dad's brother, you know what I'm saying?
Big time.
Yeah, big time mobster. So it's like, so they was throwing his family history at him, so that, and all this type of shit. And they're like, dude, you're not gonna be a cop. Like your family, we've had too much problems with your family for you to be a cop. And I think that with all of that shit, I think that they did it that way to kind of like box him into doing what they wanted him to do. Because like all they had to say was, yo, we want somebody to go undercover so we can take down Costello. Will you do that job? They kind of boxed him into it like, dude, you're never going to be a cop. Basically, unless you do this type thing.
I think that was a way of testing him. I don't think that it was necessarily as easy as saying, you know what I'm saying, like we want you to go undercover. I think it was testing him because the fact that they knew so much about who he was and what he was doing. And remember, he wanted to be a trooper. He didn't want to be undercover. So that's why when he was saying like when Martin Sheen's character Queenan was saying like you're not gonna be a trooper. And he asked him like, yo, like, are you sure about that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that what you really think that I ain't fit for this? But he wasn't understanding what was going on. And then I think that Mark Wahlberg's character Dingham, when he was doing the shit that he was doing, I think Queenan knew what was going on. I think that was something that they wanted to set up to test him to see if he was going to fold under pressure, to see if he would, you know what I'm saying, if he would respond the correct way. Because if you watch how he was responding to him, he wasn't really backing down from him. It was more so like, let me keep my cool before I spaz out. But at the same time, I kind of get your game, but I just want to make sure if this is what you really doing, because they start going, you know what I'm saying, like tit for tat for a minute.
Yeah, and then once he finally, agreed to do it, because they asked him a question: do you want to be a cop or do you want to appear to be a cop? And he was like, a lot of the people want to just appear to be a cop, but he was like, at the same time, if you a cop, you know what I'm saying, to be a cop, you won't get the accolades or you won't get the credit for doing what we want you to do.
Right.
Like a regular cop would. Like we're gonna compensate you. You're gonna get paid. You're gonna get your money. And it's like that's one of those type of situations where it's like, would you rather? That's kind of like, would you rather be the actor or would you rather be the director? Because sometimes the actor outshines the director, but are you fine being a director because you're the one that's behind the camera? Like a lot of people don't know what you look like. Like some people can't pick Martin Sorcese out of a lineup. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like that's what they really was trying to get him to do. Like if we bring down Costello, like you're not gonna get the credit for it, but you're getting compensated for it. And so, and then like to make it look real, they're like, okay, like we're gonna have to, get you locked up, put an assault charge on you.
Yeah.
And because he was already, the thing is, what was so wild about it was he's in the police academy, but at the same time, he was serving weekends for some shit that he said he got in trouble for. And it's crazy because it's like, well, damn, you really can be a cop with, with a record or whatever? Because, and Queenie was like, well, could you, because he asked him about, doing time, and he was like, he had to do something where he had to go in on weekends. He was like, could you do it for me again? He was like, could you do it for me? So he had to go in, so it would look, because he knew somebody like Costello would look up his history and see if, even though he found out that, I mean, that's the thing. Costello knew every fucking thing that went on. Like anything that was in the streets, in the police force, like whatever, he knew about everything. And I think that when you do it, when you that's the best way to be big time. It's like you have to have your foot into everything. And I thought that was very, very telling, because it seemed like everyone Costello would talk to, he knew something about their family.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think that is attention to detail. And if you don't have, and I think that's a way that it's not that you could, look, we've seen, or we at least heard of, there's not many stories of the monster that got away, but there are a few. And when you hear about those guys that got away, it's because they paid attention to detail like that.
Okay. I mean, the interesting thing for me about Costigan was that when they were in the room, remember he had said, Dingham had said, he was like, "There's no way you're gonna be a trooper." He was like, you had a 1400 on your SAT. He was like, "You too smart for this shit." He was like, "You should be in NASA." And so after he said that, he started breaking down the whole family dynamic. And then he was saying, like, you grew up in two different places. When you was with your mom, you was totally different. You was pronouncing your R's. He said when you was with your mom, you was totally different. Then when you come home with your dad, he said you drop your R's and you don't pronounce them. And now you seem like you one of the kids that grew up here. So I think that when they seen that, they like they knew he was the one for the job. Like they knew he could have easily fit in. They knew that he can, he was smart enough to be able to understand the situations and everything like that. I think that it was interesting seeing him adjust to all of this different, or seeing him adjust to that lifestyle. Though. Like at first, when it first happened, he's at the bar, and he go to the bar because they get caught up because he go to his cousin to make a drug deal. To flip some money, and then he get the attention of one of the big, of the big wigs, and dude, he asked for cranberry juice. Dude say, "What you on your period?" That's the only time motherfuckers drink cranberry juice is for women on their period. And then like dude laughed, and then like he smashed dude over the head with the glass, started whipping his ass. And then that's when we meet Frenchie. Frenchie, he stopped everything and he like, "Yo, I'm the only one in this bar that let motherfuckers know if you can punch on him or if you can't punch on him." He said, "That motherfucker halfway there, but you can't punch on him."
That shit was funny how you explained that.
Yeah, he said it's guys you can punch on, and it's guys. No, he said it's guys you can. What he said? It's guys you can hit, and it's guys you can't hit. He was like, that guy is a guy that you can't quite hit. He's also a guy that you can't quite hit. But I'm telling you right now, you can't hit him. Like that shit was crazy. So you know what I'm saying? Like for him to instantly get in there, you know what I'm saying, and then once that happened, the name is what I think got him around a lot. Like you mentioning his dad, how you were saying like his dad was his dad was a bad dude. He just didn't, jump into the family business where, like his uncle, his grandfathers, his aunts and all them, they was all a part of it. They all was criminals, except for his dad. His dad decided to say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just go be a janitor at the airport." And we know how serious his dad was, because later on in the movie I'm gonna just jump real quick to later on in the movie when they sitting in the diner, and Billy is talking to Costello, and he was like, "Man, I look at you," and he said, I see your dad." He said your dad would have really, he said that he'd have broke through 7 people just to kill me for sitting here with you. And he said, your uncle would have did the same thing. So it just lets you know, like, even though, that his dad wasn't necessarily out there in the streets doing what he was doing, it still lets you know, like, his dad was, that guy. Like, he was really solidified from whatever he was doing, and people knew of him. They knew not to mess with, him or his son. And I think that, them using him as not necessarily as a pawn, but them using him and getting him in there to be able to do what they needed to do was a very, very smart move. And it really made the movie that much better.
Yeah, and to paraphrase a little more, he was like, your dad could go through 7 men. Mm-hmm. And he was like, and get to me. And he was like, and he could do it. And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
so what he was saying was like, it was a compliment by saying like, nobody touches me.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, but your dad and your uncle could go through 7 people. And we
Mm-hmm.
know one of those 7 people is French. And
Mm-hmm.
he could get to me. So like it was a compliment to his dad, but then at the same time, he was like, they would kill me just because I'm sitting at a table with you.
Yeah.
So Costello at the same time, he's like, okay, I got this dude on my squad. Now he had the one thing where so Billy is eating at a place. It's the same place, the very same place at the beginning of the movie where he went to do that collection on his own when he met Sullivan as a kid.
That was the same place?
That was the same place. It just, more modern. It was the same
Oh,
place.
okay.
And
Wow.
because remember, not Billy, but Sullivan was sitting there watching him talk to the guy and the girl or whatever. He was pretty much sitting in the same spot that
Mm-hmm.
Sullivan was, and he was sitting there eating. So Billy's sitting there eating, and these guys from Providence come to collect from the guy. And
Mm-hmm.
so he's like, "Are y'all from Providence?" He was like, "It doesn't matter where we from." So he pays for his stuff, and then he beats the shit out of him and break his hand.
Oh my gosh. Yo.
So
When I tell
then,
you that was the wildest fucking scene in that movie, bro. Like, let's talk about that real quick. Like, Billy was a fucking hothead though.
yeah, and my thing is, what do you think? What do you think his motive was to jump those guys from Providence? Because
To
what
get
it
to
ended up,
Costello, because when I'm glad you asked that though, because that was a question that I had too. Like when I was watching that shit that threw me off because I was like, if they from Providence, why the fuck would they beat him up? Until we see the meeting between him and Costello for the first time, and then we understand what the whole shit was about. So when he beats the dudes from Providence up, remember he asked them that question: "Are you guys from Providence?"
yeah,
He had that knowledge of what Providence was. Excuse me. So when he goes back to the bar, he's sitting there, you know what I'm saying, his hand fucked up. He listening to the two ladies talk at the end of the bar. And then Costello comes in as he drinking, you know what I'm saying, the juice, and he's sitting there, chilling or whatever. Costello come up to him and say, "Hey, do you know who I am?" He knew exactly who Costello was.
yeah.
But being undercover, he play it out. He ain't had, I don't know who you are. So then, you know what I'm saying, he take him to the back and he, you know what I'm saying, he tell him, yo, he said, the fact that you just beat these two dudes up means one or two things. That means that they're going to come back with a bunch of guys and kill you, which I'm sure that they can, or I could call them the fuck out, but you got to put in some work for me. And I think that was his entry into getting Costello and getting in good with him.
Well, let's not forget, before he said that to him, he had French check him for any wires,
Mm-hmm.
and then they fucking broke his cast that he
Oh
just
my
got put
God.
on, and
Yo,
then hit his
that shit
ass
was sick.
with his boot. He had some Timbs, so
Yeah.
he hitting his broken hand with Timbs, and he's like, "Are you still a cop?" Because, like I say, Costello knows everything. He knows that he went to school to be a cop. And so he was like, I'm not a cop. So he throws the money on the table, like, go fix your hand, whatever. But like you said, like the way that he planned that, because they knew that guys from Providence, they are connected. They're
Mm-hmm.
not with Costello. They're basically Costello's counterparts. You know what I'm saying?
That's Rhode Island. That ain't even Massachusetts. That's Rhode Island.
Yeah, that it is. But Rhode Island probably got. I see, especially Providence. Providence is really like a smaller Boston, from my understanding of it. It's
All
not.
that
It's
shit
not
is a
as.
smaller Boston.
Yeah, it's not as, what I'm saying, glamorous. But I think a lot of that is because Boston got, baseball teams, what I'm saying, NHL teams, football teams, all the type of shit like that. So it's just a lower
Well, it's
scale.
the whole New England area, right? Like I don't think people understand how small the fucking states are. I think Maine is the biggest state out of the whole New England
It
area.
is, yeah.
So like that shit is really like um how they say with New York when they say the tri-state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so it'll be like New York, New Jersey, and then Philadelphia, and like all that shit would be considered New York, or I mean not Philadelphia. It's New York, New Jersey, and it's another state. I'm forgetting what it is. It's blanket, but it's like because New Jersey is basically split between Philadelphia and New York, and then like so Upper New Jersey is basically New York. Lower Jersey is like Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? It's like that. So like the I guess Massachusetts is the New York of New England, and then like all the rest of them is like basically extensions of that shit.
Yeah. And like that was his way in to basically get the attention of him. But like I said, he knows of Billy's family. So he was like, well, oh, so Billy Costa can just beat up some guys from Providence. So he was like, I know his dad. I know his uncle. Let me see what this dude is at. Because I think that he knew, just like the conversation he had with him, if your dad wanted to get to me, he could go through 7 men and get to me. So he's like, well, shit, you could be of use to me.
Yeah.
So that's what Queenan knew. Queenan knew the whole time, like, yo, him and Dignam, like they knew, like, your family has a reputation. Costello knows your family, so this would be the best way to get you in. But you also having a 1400 on your SATs, we know that you smart. So that was like the perfect thing for him to do because he knew, like, well, I don't want these Providence guys to kill you. So he was like, I could stop this and just put you basically on my team. But at the same time, with all of the shit that was going on, as far as it felt like Queening was getting closer, and like he said later on in the film, like you're the new guy.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had no problems, you know what I'm saying, really, until you got here. So that was a contradiction, man. Like undercover is, man, listen to me. That's one job that will be really hard to do, especially like when you see different types of undercover, like In Too Deep, like that shit. Like I'm telling you, you could see how, you know what I'm saying, Omar Epps in that movie, like it's the perfect title, like In Too Deep, because you get to a point where it's like, well, damn, like who am I? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you could kind of see that shit with Billy though. Like you could see like just how that shit was affecting him. Like you know what I mean? Like remember when he was talking to the shrink and he was saying like, yo, like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sitting here, you know what I'm saying, with murderers, mass murderers. He said, and my heart is fucking jumping, jumping, jumping. He said, I'm sitting here locked up, and I move my hand. He said, and my hand ain't shaking.
Yeah.
He said, I get around these guys, my hand starts shaking. He said, my hand never shakes.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still letting you know, like, as hard as, you know what I'm saying? Like, as hard as he goes into, you know what I'm saying, trying to do his job, like, that shit is still affecting him. And, like, you know what I'm saying, in the midst of all of this happening, his mom died. Well, his mom died.
Died before he got in.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so he still, you know what I'm saying, he still got to deal with the grief of his mother passing. And then, you know what I'm saying, he beefing with his uncle, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you know what I'm saying, he's trying to go in to be an officer, but, you know, they don't want him to be an officer. They want him to go undercover. So, I mean, like you said, undercover is a tough-ass job. That's not nothing to play about. You know what I'm saying? Your life is constantly on the line regardless of what happens. Like, if, you know what I'm saying, you go do some shit and then you get found out that, you know what I'm saying, you're a police officer, they can shoot you. and kill you right there on the spot. Or you could just be in the middle of some shit. The police pull up and don't realize you undercover, and they can shoot you and kill you right there on the spot. So I mean, like that's some dangerous shit, man.
Oh yeah, and then like so then you get Sullivan meets, you know, so he meets the shrink, like he sees her and it's like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying, let me holler at her. So like he fucking hollers at her and then they get into, you know what I'm saying, a little thing, you know, she meet him for dinner and whatnot. They form this relationship and like so she is dealing with Sullivan and also being the shrink for Koskiskin. I can never say his name right, but Billy.
I know I fucked it up a bunch of times.
But the thing is, like I was telling you before we started, there was something that happened that I did not notice until I watched it. Like I've seen this movie 20, 25 times. This was the first time I noticed this. So she's over at his crib and like it's breakfast and she's like, you know, you want to talk about it? And he's like, what? She's like, you want to talk about last night? And like, you know, he wasn't really saying anything. And then like the more and more she started talking, she was like, you know, it happened to a lot of guys. I'm like, oh shit. Like, was this the first time he tried to fuck and he couldn't get it up? And it's like, I never noticed that before. I was like,
I don't think that's what happened. I think he busted fast.
You think it was that?
I think he shot his gun too early.
Because I think it could be both, or not both, but like one of the two, because it's like it seemed like he was embarrassed. Like either way, that's an embarrassing thing to be, you know, to be a part of, especially if it's somebody new.
I don't know, big dog. I don't know about that.
Hold on, which part? Hold on, which part?
The not getting it up is the embarrassing part. The shooting too early, hey man, she on her own.
Well, I would say
lie to you, man.
Like,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
I feel like, I mean, when you first, like, because I feel like you want to make an impression on a person, especially if it's like the first time. Like,
yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
That's why I think that he looked so embarrassed, but because I think both things will be embarrassing for the first time, like especially like the way he hit on her and like, you know what I'm saying, like you could tell like yo, I'm into this girl, and it's like then to underperform when you now put in all that effort.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
That was,
and then he got that bravado and all that shit too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, because he walk around like he think he the shit. Like even when he was hitting on her in the elevator, like, you know what I'm saying. Like he had confidence. Yeah, you know, a lot of confidence in himself. And then to underperform whichever one it was, like, you know, he was just like, I gotta go to work. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh shit. It's like I never really understood that scene until I watched it last night. And I was like, oh fuck, I never noticed that shit before.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that, you know what I'm saying, like with that scene, man, I think it's him shooting his load, because, you know what I'm saying, later on in the movie we find out that she ends up pregnant. Now, this was my thing.
I know what you're about to say.
She also, you know what I'm saying, was real, you know what I'm saying, flirty with Billy. And before this scene pops up, her and Billy have a, you know what I'm saying, an exchange, and she's trying to tell Billy something. Now, we come to, you know what I'm saying, this with the scene that we talk about, we find out that she's pregnant, but she was telling Billy as if like, yo, like, you know what I mean, I think this your kid. And I think when Billy told her like, yo, you know what I'm saying, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks, that was her thing where she was like, well, shit, you know what I'm saying, I don't know who the daddy is, so since I'm talking to you, congratulations.
Yeah, and I think that was, I think that was much needed in the script, because it's like with Sullivan being the person that he is, and Billy being the way that he is, like, so she's caught in this world of like, she thinks she's dealing with one good guy and she's dealing with one bad guy, but actually they really flip-flop.
Yeah.
Like, she's dating the bad guy, but the guy that she got this attraction to is really a good guy that she thinks is a bad guy. And it's like, with her being in this love triangle with these two dudes, and she's got one person being vulnerable with her, and then the person that she's dating, he's not being vulnerable. And like,
he was actually mind fucking her.
He was. And I think he knew, because why else would he ask her out to dinner? But she said yes. She could have said no, easy.
Not only that, he played her in that whole situation.
Well, he played her for pills too, though.
No. That's what I'm saying. But I don't even think he was using the pills.
No, remember, he was taking the pills.
That wasn't what she prescribed. That was something different.
Oh, okay. Well, I knew he was taking some.
Yeah, when he was taking the pills, he wasn't taking, because he asked for Valium. He wasn't taking Valium. He was taking oxycodone.
You're right.
So even though, you know what I'm saying, he might have been using that for the pill situation too, but he was playing her because, remember, he was talking to her and he started asking her questions. And then he said, "Oh, one of your parents must have been a drunk."
Yeah.
And she said, she took a real long silent pause, and then she said, "Okay, let's just keep the questions on you. Let's talk about you." Yo, like, he was playing her on that one. That's why I said he was a lot smarter than the motherfucker was leading on. Like, I didn't understand how, you know what I'm saying, like, how intelligent his character was until, like, the movie went on. You started to really see, like, that nigga started to become a mastermind on some shit.
Yeah. He did. He and I think that he didn't really get the credit that he deserved for what he was doing, because to be able to, I mean, just pretty much just steal my dude's girl, like, from right up under him, and then, like, even showing up at a place like the way that he did, like, I mean, it was on some vulnerable shit, but at the same time, it was, I know what I could do to get in. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, with her inviting him in, like, it was like, with him mind fucking her, because all he knew is that she was with a cop. He did not know it was Sullivan.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting, because I think if he knew if it was Sullivan, because you know what, I think he never found out. Even before he died, I don't think he ever found out that was Sullivan's girl or whatever. But I think that what Sullivan, like, okay, right, so let's get back to, like, the Frank.
Yeah.
So, like, the whole relationship with Frank and Sullivan, I think that when that started to go sour was when he would, it felt like when once he became detective, it seemed like, to me, he got more demanding. And I think Sullivan started not to like that shit, because it was like, it seemed like he started to get more, like, he yelled at him more, like he got more aggressive. And I don't know if it was the pressure of him feeling that he has a rat on his team. It could have been the pressure of that, but at the same time, he started talking to Sullivan like, I think Sullivan started to feel like he wasn't needed. Yeah. Because he really wasn't, because he had other dudes on the payroll, and he started, it felt like he started treating him as such. Dude, like, did you get that feel like he started treating him like he didn't really need him as much?
Well, I think that a lot of that attention that was initially going to Sullivan eventually got switched over and started going to Billy. Because now you got, you know what I'm saying, this new, young, up-and-coming, you know what I'm saying, member of your team who can do a lot of shit. and is willing to do a lot of shit, and he ain't giving you no back talk, he ain't giving you no problems, no nothing. He might do some goofy shit like when he knocked Jimmy Bag's teeth out. You know what I'm saying? Because he thought Jimmy Bags was pulling
That
out a
wasn't no
gun.
silly shit, man. He was reaching, man.
Yeah,
He was
that's
reaching
what I'm
in his
saying.
coat.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, like in hindsight, it was silly shit because we know he was reaching for a cigarette. But at the same time, like you gotta feel him, like you said, he reaching in his jacket in the midst of all this shit going on. He really doing his job.
Yeah.
So when you know what I'm saying, so when he was sitting there and he was talking, when they get in the car or whatever, and they talking to Frank, and he said, you know what I'm saying, Frank, I seen him, you know what I'm saying, I seen him reaching, and he like, well, he's a bookie. He like, right. He said, but I seen him going in the jacket. He's like, well, what do bookies do? Like, you know, he ain't got no goddamn gun. He a bookie. But at the same time, he was just like, hey, I'm making sure my guy is good. You asked me to go in there and hold him down. That's what I'm doing. And I think that once, you know what I'm saying, Frank started to see that, and Frank started to understand that, you know what I'm saying, he really was in with the team. Like, I think all that attention that Sullivan was getting, because for the most part, we never really seen Sullivan talking to Frank unless it was some shit that had to go down.
And then also to go back to that same scene when he was talking to Billy about, you know, when he was talking to Billy about his dad and his uncle getting, you know, going through 7 Man to get to him, he also asked him, have you ever thought about going back to school?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it seems like, all right, well, you rocking with me. How about you go in and you be my inside man?
Yeah.
So that even clarifies your point even more, because it's like, why else would he ask him, have you thought about going back to school?
Right.
Because that's the same shit that he said to Sullivan when he was a kid. So I think that he was like, well, if I can get you on the inside, you could be more effective than what Sullivan is being to me right now. And then it's like, when you look at the cop point of view, like when they went, like when he met with the triad, like that, where one shit I told you that was funny, you know, when he was saying, he was like, he said, tell Bruce Lee in the, what he called him?
In the Karate Kids.
In the Karate Kids. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah,
and
he
like,
was wilding on that.
But like the cops, what they was dealing with was, so Quentin knew, you know what I'm saying, my guy is on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, my man didn't put a camera in the back, and Sullivan told Frank that there wasn't no camera in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole chess game of Billy being, you know what I'm saying, working with Quentin and Costello not knowing, but then at the same time, you got Sullivan feeding information to Frank, telling them, yo, there's no camera in the back, so make sure you tell the triad dudes to leave on the boat and not leave in the cars. And then oh shit, what's my man, Alec Baldwin,
I forgot what his name was too, but he was like the captain or some shit like that.
Yeah, he was the captain, and like he fucking went off on my dude because he's like, yo, why you didn't put no camera in the back? So like, it's like the only time he didn't talk to Sullivan on some friend shit or some fatherly type shit. It was just like, yo, do this. It was more of a demanding relationship. It wasn't because it seemed like him and Billy was getting close. Him and Costello was getting close. But it was like with Sullivan, it was strictly a business relationship.
Yeah, it was all transactional. It was just like, you know what I'm saying? I put you in there to do a job. When you there, you do your job. You know what I'm saying? You don't worry about nothing else. And you can tell, like, every time some shit happened, when we called and talked to him, it was short, to the point, and sweet. It wasn't nothing else. So, yeah, 100%. I agree with you on that.
And then, like, when he was testing Billy, like the first time Billy had, well, it was actually the second time he sat down with him. It was after the scene of when he fucked up his hand. Well, his hand was already fucked up, but when he hit his hand with the boot or whatever, asking him was he a cop. So Queenan had him go in with a wire, and like, so he pulled so Frank's saying he pulled his hand out of a fucking plastic bag of this guy that they killed.
Yeah.
And he took the ring. He asked, and Frank was like, "Yo, it was funny." He said, "You asked him which hand he jerked off with." So he chopped off the hand that my man jerked off with, and he took his ring off and said, "Send it to his wife," and all this type of shit. So Billy's sitting there like, he tell Queen and them like, "Yo, no, I'm not wearing a wire in here anymore." Like, but like it was like that test of like, let me see how you react to when I fucking show you a human hand in front of me. So I think that every time he put Billy through some shit, like he aced that shit. So I think that he won over Sullivan. Well, Billy over Sullivan, because he's like, I had put you in some high stress fucking situations, and you aced it every single time. So it seemed like he was way more valuable to him than Sullivan was. And I think that, like you said, like he got jealous of somebody that he didn't even know who they was.
100%. Like I don't think it was necessarily him being jealous of them. I think it was just more so like he started to see just how expendable he was. And I mean, like, you got to think, like, with everything that he had to go through, like, you know what I'm saying, going through the training and then getting promoted and putting teams together and giving off all this information and then everything that's surrounding that, only to later on just be pretty much just put to the side. Like, you start to look like, goddamn, like, what the fuck is that shit about? Like, I'm putting in this work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you asked me to do this. You the one who put me through this shit. And it's like you leaving me astray. Like, the only time, you know what I'm saying, I talk to you is when you fucking, you know what I'm saying, I'm giving you fucking hints. And then when I'm giving you hints and doing everything else, I do everything you ask, and then you turn around and, like, you borderline shit on me.
Yeah, he shit on him because especially when his phone was dead and old girl was over there and she answered the phone. And he was like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on with your phone?" He was like, "Oh, my phone must have died." And like he was going in on his ass. Yeah. And it's like, fuck, like, and you can see like the frustration in Sullivan, and then I think that's when girl started to put this shit together. Like, yo, something's going on. Like, why are you talking to this guy that sounds like that and you say that's your boss? But at the same time, he could have been like what he ended up saying to her. He could have said that from the jump. Yo, it's parts of my job I can't talk to you about. Boom. Yeah. In the discussion. But like he tried to lie his way out of it, and she like called his ass out on it. And so then he finally said that. And she was like, "That's all you had to say, like from the jump. Like just say that you can't talk about it." But that scene of him just ripping his ass just because he didn't answer the phone, like that shit was important. And then, like I say, go back to Frank knowing everything. So Sullivan get a promotion. And he asked him, to meet him or whatnot. And the whole little scene where they go into the fucking, the porn joint. Yeah. Motherfucker had like he buzzed on him. But then it was a black dick. That's what made shit funny. That's why like, he was gonna shoot a load on him with a black dick. Right. But then he was just like, I'm looking for myself, because he's like they put me in charge of finding the rat inside the department, and he was like, I'm investigating myself and whatnot. And that's when Billy was telling Costello to figure out who the hell this dude that's the rat is. And so then my man Sullivan just killed the fucking delivery guy. I mean, my man just trying to make some money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Look, this is what pisses me off. Think about the damn people that's waiting on their Chinese food, man. They sitting there hungry as hell. They like, damn, man, my damn food taking a long time.
Yeah, they done paid for all this shit, and it ain't gonna never get there.
Dude, that was a lot of food too, but it had to be like a family of 7. But like,
man, that was at least $120 bill.
That's what I'm saying. And they sitting at home hungry. And he just stabbed my man. You know what I'm saying? Just stabbed him. And so he didn't even really get to get a good look at like who it was or whatever. And then let me see. So let's jump to it. So French and Billy goes to go see this dude. And I thought it was funny. My man was sitting there asleep, and Billy was holding that fucking picture over his head, and then he opened his eyes, and he see an angel, and then he just has the fucking face with the damn angel picture. And so then, he tells the guy, he's like, basically, I ain't got the money because they went to collect. And he was like, I don't want him to sell me out to the feds. And so then he tells him, like, why do you think the stuff always go federal? He was like, he's an FBI informant. And it's like, oh, shit. Like, but then you think about it, it makes sense. Like, why else would they not ever be able to build a case on this guy unless he has to be giving the FBI some shit?
Yeah.
So he finds out that he is an FBI informant, and so he goes to meet with Queenan at his house and like, yo, like Costello is a rat for the FBI.
Yeah.
And then so Sullivan finds out about it. Damn, how did Sullivan find out about it? He found out. Damn, do you remember when because I can't remember exactly when Sullivan found out that he was an FBI informant. Oh, he was going through those notes. But who notes were they though?
They was Queenan's, wasn't they?
Yeah, because Queenan, that's right. Queenan had fucking so after him and Billy sat down and had
that's right, because after Queenan died, remember he took all of his shit.
Exactly. That's when he found out because fucking everybody knew that there was a rat somewhere. Like they knew it was a rat in the police, and then he knew it was a rat on Costello's team. So Billy he tells Queenan to meet him, but they Sullivan put a man to follow Queenan, and they wasn't happy about that. They was pissed. They was like, why are we following Queenan? He was like, well, look, we got to follow up on all these. So Billy see that he has a tail. He loses the tail, and they go meet at the place. And so then at the same time, Costello guys, they come rushing in while Sullivan guys watching Queenan. So they ended up throwing my man out the roof. But my one dude called Sullivan. No, not Sullivan. He called Billy to tell him, yo, meet me at 314 Washington Street.
Yeah.
So when they throw them off the building and he's walking up, the police that was there for Queenie, because they was like, yo, something fell from the building, like a body fell from the building. And so then they start shooting at Costello guys. My man got shot. They called Billy and told him about it. So they go back to Costello's spot, and my man says, yo, like, Billy, you're never late. And he was like, and I fucked up. He was like, I told you 314 Washington Street. We was at 344 and you still showed up. So he was about to shoot him, and then he ended up dying. And like you said, that's when Sullivan got the access to Queen and stuff, and then he saw that Costello was fucking informant for the FBI.
Now, see, that's the part that, you know what I'm saying, that I think really fucked him up too, though, because remember, you know what I'm saying, he had to basically kill him. Well, ain't no basically, he killed the nigga at the end.
Yeah, like he has to, because he's like,
he was about to shoot. Well, because Frank was about to shoot him.
Yeah, but then at the same time, that's when, so Billy, French, and Costello is going to go pick up the drugs. Yeah. And they got a tail. So he tells Sullivan, yo, I got a tail, get them off. And he was like, you know, Frank, do you yourself have to go? And he yelled at him for the last fucking time. He was like, ditch the fucking tail, you know? And he's like, all right. So then he goes in, tell Brown and the rest of the guys like, yo, I know what Costello's going to be. All this type of stuff here, like, we can end this tonight. So then the whole shooting scene goes down, and then Costello calls him. His phone's ringing, and then he meets him. And he's like, "You are a fucking informant for the FBI." And he was like, "I never."
You could tell he was so hurt, man.
Oh man, but his heart, like his whole childhood and teenage
years, man, like everything he
was...
believed just fell apart that day. Like he found out Superman was really just a regular dude that was, you know what I'm saying, his cape was getting pushed back by a fan, man. That shit was sad. That shit hurt me.
Hey, but he was so heartbroken, and then he kept asking, like, "Do they know about me?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Nah," but he was like, "I never turned in nobody that basically wasn't on their way out anyway." And that's just the whole little thing of trying to, like, make yourself feel better. Like, you know, I'm not a rat because they was already on their way out type shit. Like, no, you a rat too. Like, don't try to sugarcoat the shit just because you want to look at it, you know what I'm saying, your way. But it's like at the end of the day, you're selling out people that are doing the same shit you doing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? To keep yourself on the street, to get them off the street. And like he fucking shot his ass. And it was so funny because when he shot his ass and he was laying back and then the gun went off.
Yeah, he shot that motherfucker again. Yeah.
He was like, "Man, would you fucking die?" And that shit was fucking hilarious. And then, like, Billy, like you said, before, like, so after all of that shit goes down, Billy goes sees old girl. And that's when she was trying to tell him. Because she was like,
No, this is after he goes to see Sullivan. Because remember, he seen Sullivan first.
No. It couldn't have been. Because think about it. The last time that he saw Sullivan, he died. Remember?
No. Remember.
Yeah.
After the police station. After Sullivan killed Costello,
yes.
Billy and Sullivan met up. And
you're right.
He was trying to get his identity back. So he was like, he said, "What's your password?" So he gave him the password or whatever, and he was like, "Give me a minute. I'm about to go to the other room real quick to go do something because I need to find something or whatever." And he seen, you know what I'm saying, he was looking them up and trying to find out information about him or whatever. But then
he saw the envelope.
Billy seen that envelope. And that's when he knew what the fuck was going on. And then that's when he went to go see old girl.
That's right. He saw
because he gave her that envelope and told her to wait for it.
Yeah, and because she was like, "You the only person that I have, and you the only person that I could trust." And she's like, basically, "I got something to tell you." And he was like, "Tell me in 2 weeks." He was like, "If it's that important, tell me in 2 weeks."
Yep.
And so then he meets with him at the same place that Queenan died because he called. Because the way he even met him was he called him on a dead man's phone.
Yeah.
He was like, "Why are you calling me on a dead man's phone?" So then he brings him in, and so they did their little shit. And so then he calls him again, and they meet up at the 344 Wash place. And then like he doing like what Sullivan was called a citizen's arrest.
A citizen's arrest.
Yeah, because he fucking deleted his file because he figured out that he seen who he was because he seen that envelope because they was trying to figure out who the rat was in Frank's team. So he was like, "Yo, won't you get me everybody's socials, real names, all that type of shit, and I can look them up in the database." And my one man tried to write citizens, but he didn't know how to spell that shit. So Billy crossed it out and then spelled it right. That's how he knew right off the rip who all about the envelope, because he's like, "Shit, that's the envelope I fucking wrote that, you know what I'm saying, my shit down on." So then he's like, "Man, you know, we gonna do a citizen's arrest," but he calls Brown because Brown knew he was a cop because they was in, you know what I'm saying, the thing together on the police academy together. But Brown is still like, "Oh, well, I understand that, but you know, leave Sergeant Sullivan alone," all this type of shit.
Yeah.
So they he ended up getting on Billy and Sullivan get on the elevator. And he was like, "Man, just kill me." He was like, "Just fucking kill me." He was like, "I am killing you." And then that's when we introduced the fucking the one dude that was working with Sullivan, Barrigan. He shoots this motherfucker head as soon as the elevator opened up.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, you thought you was the only one?" So then he's like, "This motherfucker Frank, this dude that I've been working with all this motherfucking time, he's on Frank's payroll too." So he's thinking he's the only motherfucker in the department that Frank is dealing with, but he's dealing with somebody else. So he's like, "Fuck that. So I'm going to shoot you too." So he shoots this motherfucker in the head. Brown comes down. He shoots Brown in the fucking head. And so he's the only one left. And he just kept saying, "Oh, I want to recommend him for the Medal of Merit and all this type of shit." So they have Billy's funeral. And then I think that that's when, for Sullivan to be a cop, it was kind of slow. Because, like, he see how hard my girl crying at this funeral, and then he remembers, like, she was meeting with a dude. Well, she at least was.
Because remember, he asked him when he was in the thing, he said, "I went to go see the shrink." No, he said, "I've been seeing this shrink." And remember, he asked him, he said, "How's that been going?" But then Billy looked over it and didn't answer.
Yeah. And so then he's putting, you know what I'm saying, one together with two, and he's like, "Oh shit. She's crying like that because he's the motherfucker that she's been seeing." And so then he's walking, and he was like, "I catch up to y'all." And then he comes and he says, "What about the baby?" And she just walked right past him. And I still don't think that it registered in his head like, that might not be my baby. I don't think that shit still registered in his head.
It couldn't have.
So, because he just asked, "What about the baby?" And she just kept walking. And I think that she knew the whole time, like that what she was trying to tell him, that they met up with her, like, "Yo, I'm pregnant, and it's a huge a possibility that it's your baby." So then, when Queenan died, which we skipped, Queenan died, and fucking Digdam's hot because he went after damn Sullivan. And so the other captain dude, he put him on leave, and he was like, "Dude, he was like, I won't work for him. I'd rather quit." He was like, "I put in my 2-week notice." And so he put in his time, so he's off. So Sullivan think he's riding high. Fucking Frank is dead. My one partner's dead. Billy's dead. Like, I'm Captain Queen is dead. I'm in the clip. So this motherfucker go home. Fucking Digdam pop up out of nowhere, sitting in his house. You already know he got the fucking the hospital shit over his shoes.
Yeah.
Jumpsuit zipped all the way up to the neck. And he was like, "Go ahead." So he fucking shoots his ass in the head. And then he had this thing with the damn state building. And then, like, the whole crazy part was when they showed that state building for the last time, a fucking rat just was walking on the fucking balcony. And it was just like, it was just so perfect. And then something else I love about this film, like the theme song for this film is my absolute favorite fucking rock and roll song.
The
fucking "Give Me Shelter" by the Rolling Stones. They played
that. Oh no,
I
thought you was talking about
times.
I thought you was talking about the one shit, the rolling up the roll. I forgot what the fuck the song is called, but it's the song is played over the Irish jig music.
No, it was like the opening scene. It was playing during the opening scene, and then it also played it again, like in the middle of the film. Like they played it again, and it's like my fucking favorite Rolling Stones song, man. That should be rocking, but like I think the film ended. Man, I think the way that they did it, it was so well done because like Digdam, like he had it in him the whole time, and him and Queenan, like they never really showed like the significance of they partnership. Like we don't know like how close they was, but I think seeing that when Queenan was dead and Sullivan made it seem like Queenie was the rat.
Yeah.
You could tell like Digdom was hot. Like he was fucking pissed. And it's like I think that him and Queenie had a real strong relationship.
Well, yeah, you could tell that was like his mentor though, because like even like I said, even when with the interaction with Billy, like you know what I'm saying, like Queenie never jumped in to stop that shit. Like you know what I'm saying, he kind of let him do his thing. He kind of let him go in and put him to the test. So yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So I think it ended good, man. For Dictum really to be the last man standing because he really was. Like everybody else pretty much died.
Yeah.
Like, and but Martin, man, he fucking old girl didn't die. She didn't die. And his crackhead cousin Sean didn't die. So
That
that
motherfucker,
shit
bro.
was funny.
Yeah, dude,
That shit
nuts.
was funny. Oh man, but like it's wild, man. It was a really really good film, man. Like it was one of those films where it's like I felt like dude, it was like a fucking blessing in disguise to meet you, dude, because it's like everybody around me, like nobody liked it to depart it like I did. Like I was like,
Well, see, it to me, man. It's this thing, right? Like we have this thing where we love like these gangster movies, right? So like people love Godfather, people love Scarface, people love
Goodfellas, Casino.
yup, Goodfellas, Casino, The Untouchables. You know what I'm saying? Like even you know what I'm saying? Like just they love these movies of these mobsters and these gangsters and you know what I'm saying. This time when it was just like a free for all in America, basically, where the crazy part is like the law was the law, but it really didn't have the no kind of power for real over these organizations, over these street organizations. And so when we see, you know what I'm saying, like when we see stuff like that, for Scorsese to really make basically a modern day Goodfellas or a modern day Godfather or whatever, like that's basically what he did. He gave us that gangster film that, you know what I'm saying, is reminiscent of the ones in the 80s and the ones in the 70s. Like he gave us something to really look at and be able to say, okay, this is our Godfather, this is our Goodfellas. Like that shit was 2 hours and 30 some odd minutes of pure greatness for real. Like I said, all star cast from Martin Sheen, Mark Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Alec Baldwin, Anthony Anderson. Like so many of those guys
And
have
don't forget
gone
about
on.
Vera, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like so many of those guys have done great work and have went on after that movie to go still do great work. Like and then to see those actors kind of play the, you know what I'm saying, kind of play those roles, like you know what I'm saying. To see Leonardo DiCaprio play a guy who can switch in and out of, you know what I'm saying, having a Boston accent and really, I mean, because like if you really think about it, he was an actor that was playing an actor in that movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know what I'm saying, Jack Nicholson, man, just you know what I'm saying, doing his best to, you know what I'm saying, bring that craziness that he had in what was that? You know what I'm saying? What was that fucking movie? I'm about to say Psycho, but it ain't Psycho. It's damn, what the fuck is the movie? The Here's Johnny. Uh
The Shining.
The Shining. You know what I'm saying? Like just to bring that into a character and kind of bring to me because I felt like it was a mix between The Shining and the Joker from Batman. Like I felt like his character was a mix between those two. Like you know what I'm saying? He had that rage, but he still you know what I'm saying? He still had that arrogant, witty gangster, you know what I'm saying, way about him. So I mean, like just to see all of these guys play these roles and the way that they took into the roles. Some people having to play, you know what I'm saying, two roles at once. You know what I'm saying? Leo having to play an actor that's, you know what I'm saying, and he already acting. So I mean, it's just the way, you know what I'm saying, they bringing in certain characters and then, you know, taking out certain characters and the situations that you find them in, and you know what I'm saying, them going from when Sullivan was a child all the way to an adult. Like, I mean, it's so many, you know what I'm saying, so many pieces of the puzzle that he can put together and really make excuse me, he can so many pieces of the puzzle that he can put together and really make art, man. And I mean, like, it just goes to show how great of a director he is.
And then like he got this thing where, because you got to think about it, like Leonardo, he was with him in Gangs of New York, The Aviator. He did The Departed,
Gangs of New York
Shutter
was
Island,
amazing.
Fucking The Wolf of Wall Street. Like he has this relation. It's like, you know, it reminds me of like this whole thing that Judd Apatow got with like Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill,
Vince Vaughn, and all them, yeah.
Yeah, but more of like a what's my man name? Paul Rudd. Yeah. Like they got this thing where it's just like, and even with Christopher Nolan, like, you know, he has a thing with the one girl that played in the she was in the Dark Knight Rises and Inception.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about the one that played Talia.
Yeah, like it's like 3 or 4 people that he consistently keep working with, and like Martin is the same way. Like it's like at first it started with Robert De Niro with like Taxi Driver and
Pacino,
Raging Bull, and like all that type of shit. Like it started with those guys. That's why The Irishman was blown up the way that it was, because it was like he hasn't worked with them in a while. So
and then that was the first time that they was all in the movie together.
Yeah, because it never was Al Pacino and Joe Pesci. We forgot about Joe Pesci.
Pesci, De Niro, Pacino.
Yeah, like all of them together. And so it's like, I think that the way to get great films is if you got this relationship with people that you trust and you just keep doing movies with these people, it's much easier on set to do these films, because it's like, well, I know what I'm getting out of you. I don't have to stay on you, and you know what I want, and I know what to expect when I work with you. Yeah, and exactly. I think that when you working with people the way that like these certain people keep working with the same people, I know some people probably don't like it, but if they're good, like the shit is gonna work.
100%.
And like Leonardo DiCaprio, like the shit is just gonna work. Like all you gotta do is see Leo, and you're like, yo, this shit is gonna work.
Yep.
And I think that's what made The Departed so great, was like, yeah, he had a lot of actors and actresses that we know, but at the same time, it's like he's working with some of these people, and like they already know, yo, this is what Martin wants, and this is how this shit is gonna go down.
But yeah, man, you brought up Gangs of New York. That's one of my favorite Leo movies, man. I think, you know what I'm saying, that was a masterpiece in itself as well.
Yeah, I like Gangs of New York as well.
Yeah, that shit was dope, man. So, man, you know what I'm saying? What you rating this thing?
Oh man, shit. Well, I mean, I just said everything I need to say. There's no reason to go over it again, man. I like The Departed. Like when I think of Martin, you know, I went back and watched Taxi Driver like last year, because I remember hearing people talking about how good Taxi Driver was.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I watched it, and then like just, you know, the regular classes like Casino, Goodfellas, and all of that type shit, and even The Irishman, which being a movie that came out last year. Like I gotta give it, and like this is what I was talking about like last week when we did the Blair Witch Project. It's like when I do a rating, I'm considering all movies, and like that's why I gave that a 3.5. Is because shit like The Departed, I'm giving it a 5 Fire Flame, man, because it's like I don't see nobody else that could have. The only person, but he ended up being, he played the vulnerable person well. Like I'm not a huge like you. I'm not a huge Matt Damon guy, but I don't know nobody else who could have played it that way. Now, like another guy that's from Boston, that's that's obvious that wasn't in the film.
Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
but I don't
Affleck.
think Ben would have been
He
able
couldn't
to.
have did it.
Now his brother,
Casey
could have might have pulled it off. He might have could have pulled it off.
Okay.
But that would be my only thing. But everybody else was well. Everything was done pretty good in this movie, man. I can't complain. Like I would like, okay, put it this way. It's more closer to, you know what I'm saying, a 4.9. Like I'm gonna give it a 5. You're gonna round it, like rounding it up. It's a 5. It's a 5, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, it's like a 4.7, but you round that shit up to a 5. So I'm gonna give it a 5, man.
Man, I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Okay.
The reason I'm giving it a 4.5 is because, you know what I'm saying, it's from the other movies that I've seen of Scorsese. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the story was great. You know what I mean? The plot twist was real good. But the thing that I didn't like is that it focused too much, because it's really supposed to be a movie about two separate people, right? It's supposed to have two different point of views around the same situation. It focused too much on Leonardo DiCaprio's character. You know what I mean? Like it was way too much focus on his character, and not enough. He didn't dive in enough with Matt Damon's character. And I feel like with Matt Damon's character, there was so much more that he could have pulled out of that, with him being groomed by Costello, and you know what I'm saying, like him being put into the police academy, him not knowing that, you know what I'm saying, that it was another guy who was also groomed, that he might have other people like that around. And then, you know what I'm saying, just on top of that, like, I mean, there's just so many different things that, to me, I feel like could have been played out differently or could have been utilized differently. But for the most part, man, it was a great movie, great story. It was, you know what I'm saying, like I said, 2 hours and 30 some odd minutes of a masterpiece. And I mean, just everything Scorsese got, man, he put into it. I just wish that he would have focused a little bit more on Matt Damon's character. But other than that, yeah, that's it, man. 4 out of 5, though.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, 4.5. 4.5.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because like I remember, like he only really mentioned like, "Oh, you such and such son" when he was a kid, but like they really never got any, like you don't hear anything else about his family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seemed like he didn't even have anybody, because it was like it was
exactly.
only him talking to Costello.
Yeah, like you rarely see him unless you're talking to Frank.
Yeah, or old girl. It was like that was really it. Like it was his job, old girl, and Frank, and that was it.
Yep.
And yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think that Costello was not Costello, but I think Billy was really the guy. I think that because they dive into him. It seemed like a lot more, because they give you the background on his mom. They give you, you know, the meeting with his cousin and his aunt. It gives you, it gives you really everything about it. Even had a scene where he was talking shit to his uncle because his uncle didn't show up to see his mom none of the time.
That's what I'm saying. But it was just like,
but it
was just like, it would go from like all that detail about Billy, and then like we get to Sullivan, and he turning around in the office like, yeah, I just got promoted again. Like, what the fuck did he do to get promoted? Like, how the fuck is he just making rank like that, just that fast?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I didn't think about it that way, but I thought that we was getting more of Billy, because it really didn't seem it didn't make sense for him to take in somebody the way that he took Costello took Billy in, because he knew so much about Billy's family. I feel like if he didn't know so much about his family, he wouldn't have brought him in as quickly as he did.
Yeah, it wouldn't even have been anything to do with Billy. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that given that the movie was 2 hours and 30 some odd minutes, you know what I'm saying, of a film, like you could still have him talking to Billy and then him turning around and then in another scene somewhere down the line, him talking with Sullivan, going over the plan, like seeing them, because you never really see them together at all in the movie except for the end, in the beginning.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm
No
saying?
argument
You
there.
don't see them shaking hands, you don't see them talking, and you would think that, you know what I'm saying, like this is somebody, or the movie portrays until we see the ending that this is somebody who is damn near like his right hand man and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Or like or like damn near like a kid to him, but we don't never see these motherfuckers interact unless it's a phone involved or unless it's a fucking crime scene involved. And then after that, it's like they don't have no kind of fucking relationship. So it's like I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, or I would have just at least like to see, you know what I'm saying, Sullivan working outside of that police situation, maybe working a little bit more on the criminal side or whatever, because we know he's a fucking criminal. I mean, he's just posing as a cop, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's all. But other than that, man, it was a great movie. It was an amazing movie.
I got you, man. And look, man, we was on our shit, you know what I'm saying, after the podcast that we did on the Black Witch Project, after we did that shit. Mm-hmm. So we was talking, game planning, and we came up with our next one, dude. And listen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This one is shit. Man, listen. This one might be a hood classic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Around the time that, you know what I'm saying? Because the guy, the actor in this one, or one of the actors in this one, he had this, and then he had another joint that he had out that was just as big as this at the time. So it's like, well, he had three of them. I'm sorry, he had three of them. It was this one, and he had two other ones. So he was doing his thing at this time.
But his counterpart, though, he was on the run too, though. And then this is the first time his counterpart. This was the first time I realized that this motherfucker could really be funny. Like
100%.
I never really seen him.
And you gotta remember, he comes from acting royalty though. So I wouldn't,
royalty, pops, brother.
Yep.
Like, yo. This shit right here, it was a movie. Like, I don't know why it feels like you said, hood classic. Like, we view that shit as like it should have been a huge box office success. And maybe it was, 100%. But at the same time, like, this movie was so fun. And this is the first this is the first comedy movie that we're doing. Unless you want to throw them, I don't know. Last Dragon was more of an action. It wasn't really a comedy.
It was a little comedy in there, but it was an action movie.
Yeah, but it was more of an action movie. This is the first comedy we doing, and this shit, man. I am so looking forward to this shit because this is one of the funniest movies from the late '90s, early 2000s. And this is when the one dude was on his run, and I honestly think that because I think that. As far as the franchise that he did he do the first one yet? I think he did the first one.
Yeah, he did both of them.
He did the first two?
At the time, it was two franchises. It's two different franchises.
Well, I'm talking about, okay, shit. I'm not talking about the one. I'm talking about
not the hood one. Not the hood one.
Okay, yeah. Yes,
I think this was around the same. I'm gonna make sure, but I think this was around the same time.
Because what I was gonna say was, if I'm not mistaken, I felt like this was the role that pretty much got him that role.
It could be
because he did some. He had his one big break, right? And I think that what that did was it gave him.
Okay, this was. You absolutely right, because this was the year before.
See, yeah. I think that this was the one where they was like, yo, this motherfucker can really carry a film. He's funny as fuck. Like, to do that movie, I think that's the one that took him over the top, that started that run that he had, because he had his one opportunity with the one, you know what I'm saying? Because really, that was the one thing that put him on the map to even. I think
the first one, the hood one, yes.
The hood one is what got
that
him
was the
this.
first one.
Is what got him this, and then that got him that second franchise.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. This movie.
And
oh
listen, man, he showed his ass in this one. But both of them are iconic guys.
Oh, for sure.
The other one became iconic in a little different way.
That's what you want to call it.
Yeah. Without giving it away. But before that, he was on a fucking tear. He was doing his fucking things. So, yeah, man, y'all stay tuned for next week, man. We got a great one for y'all. Well, not next week, next episode. I'm sorry. I'm saying this shit like like we in a TV show. Next time, man. So yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all tune in to the next episode, man. We got another great one for y'all, man. This one was really good too, though.
Yeah, but like I said, we never done a comedy before. We never done a comedy, so this is gonna be very interesting, man. Cause like there's so many like scenes in this movie that is just so fucking funny, dude. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold my composure.
Yeah, we definitely gonna get some good laughs. Oh, and speaking of, we talked about how The Hangover and We Are the Millers, right? We talked about that, whether the Millers hold up a candle to the first Hangover. I have been informed that, sir, the Millers doesn't even touch that shit by a long shot. These are not my words. These are other people's words. I gave the Millers a chance, but people have told me that there are way too many moments in The Hangover for the Millers to be able to compare to that great masterpiece of a comedy. So just wanted to relay that message to you, man, and let you know I'm sorry, bro, but it ain't it.
Look, we'll differ on that. No, don't get me wrong. The Hangover, it was a very funny movie. It really was. But like, I think what it is, I'm just a huge Jason fan. Like, I think that he is so fucking funny, man.
Yeah.
And like people don't realize, like, I mean, I know people. Look, I wasn't into Friends. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like Jennifer Aniston is fucking funny, yo. Like, even when she was in what's the shit she played when she was shit. The boss shit. Jason was in that too. When they want to kill their boss.
Unsomething bosses.
Fuck. It was that movie where they wanted to kill their bosses.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm about to find the name of it. It's
Oh man, what was that shit called?
Hold on, I got you.
But like she was in that, yo, and like that shit was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And cause she kept wanting to have sex with my man. and he wouldn't give a nut. I'm sorry, yo. That shit would have went down.
See, now that to me, that's more it was Horrible Bosses.
Horrible Bosses. That's what it was.
That was more that probably could have been compared to The Hangover a little bit better than We Are the Millers.
Yeah, that shit is hilarious, my guy. I love that.
Yeah, Horrible Bosses was fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah.
The cokehead son took over the business and shit. That shit was funny as fuck.
And then that motherfucker said, he said, I want to fire her because she's fat. He was like, man, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't calling Pharaoh
what
an
did
idiot.
He, no, what did he call the dude in the wheelchair? He called that motherfucker Optimus Prime or Megatron or some shit like that. Bro, that shit was funny in the motherfucker, bro.
Oh man, yo, that shit is so fucking funny,
Yeah,
man.
that movie is crazy, man. But yeah, man. You guys can follow me at Scoots Bronson on Twitter. You can follow me at Scoots Bronson _TV on Instagram. You can follow me on YouTube at Scoots Bronson TV. Make sure, man, you guys go check me out every Thursday. I was gonna do it Thursday. I'm sorry, yeah, Thursday. I was gonna do it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but I'm gonna build up the following first. And I'm gonna see how people take to it before I start spreading it out. So follow me every Thursday. You can check me out on Spotify, Isolated Society for right now. I'm spreading out to other podcast platforms soon. But you can go to Spreaker.com/Isolated Society. You can listen to it live every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, or you can check me out the next day for the replay on Spotify. It's only on Spotify right now. It's I think it's on Podcast Addict and something else, but for the main one, it's Spotify. And you can also check me out at 15 Minutes of Fame. I got another one coming very, very soon, but check out the last one with Cheese Navy, young up and coming rapper from Miami. And once again, make sure you go check out We Go High. They on all music platforms. We got a song that I just collabed on them with. They got it coming out very soon, so y'all go follow them on whatever music app y'all listen to, and keep up with them. And please, man, make sure y'all subscribe to this podcast and send us a rating on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, man. You can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and Twitter. Also, the Stolen Time Pod on Instagram, the Stolen Time Podcast on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please go follow the VA Podcast Watch Group. Like I said, every episode is posted on all of those platforms. Like he said, subscribe to everything. I got the Stolen Time Podcast. We dropping every week. Me and Uncle Washington, we coming in, hopefully with another banger. We on episode 185, man. We up in numbers, man. And also, I will be dropping. I think I'm gonna drop it at the end of this week. I got a 28 minutes or less. It's already in the bag. I just haven't posted it yet, so be on the lookout with that. It's a movie that I did a rant. It was one of those quick rant type of things, man. So man, go check that out. That's all I got, man. Oh yeah, and please check out the 28 minutes or less on all major platforms.
Yes, sir, man. So yeah, man. Can't wait to do this next one, man. This next one is gonna be a whole bunch of laughs. You know what I'm saying? Cheeks is gonna be hurting. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a whole bunch of sore faces, man. Can't wait for this one, bro. But you know what I'm saying? Like they say in the movies, man, that is a wrap.
Cut.